This was the Biennale of 2000, the first of the new millennium. No, no, aspetta.
No.
Yeah. And was the title was Less Aesthetics, More Ethics. And here was important because it was the first one in which we were from home, not from Venice. And so we used the mail. We did a new website for the Biennale. That was the first time. We used the mail and so. And for this, we arrived to have an enormous Biennale done in 9 months, inviting more than 150 architects and artists from all over the world. And also was the place where people could use the first Mac that were there in the moment. Vai, Ramon, vai, entra. Ramon.
Fatto?
Vai. So this was the interior where people could arrive and connect it with the Biennale, with all the pavilions. This was, yeah, from the Mac, you can imagine, it was 2000, 20 years ago. And this is the model, the model that we reproduce here from a real project that you will see in next images, done in Jaffa for Shimon Peretz. That was his library, the Peace House. Bye. 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 Maybe we can see the real. Okay, this is the real building in Jaffa on the sea. Was this project was done in the place, was done not precasted, but all the pieces were fabricated in the site. Yes, in the site. And it's one it's concrete, and the other strip is glass. Bye. Again. This is the view on the sea.
No, this is the auditorium.
The auditorium. And this now is the foundation, the Shimon Peretz Foundation with all these.
And now it's for innovation. Before it was only for peace, and now it's for peace and innovation.
20 years after, yes. Bye. Bye. Oh, Ramon?
Io l'ho fatto già. Non lo vedi?
No.
Sì.
No, è fermo.
No, è fermo.
This is another one, yes. This is something that we did always for experimental emergency, experimental houses in the Triennale in Milan. And this is a very, very simple house that was done with all plastic materials, no real walls, but fabrics. All the furniture was inflatable, and you can mount in really few hours, and transport with the platform can be also floating in this moment was big inundations in Italy, and also for earthquake. Vai, Ramon, avanza.
Ti arriva in ritardo,
Maybe I can't see when you change, because I have a fixed image.
Lo vedi l'altra? Adesso sì, no?
Sì, vai.
Arriva in 10 secondi dopo.
We have them. We have the images, you know.
Another model of the house.
There is a, yes. Then is we had another vision. The vision was to have some geometry, different geometry, and then we try to have a collection of the pieces that you can make. Can you show the next one?
Yes, done.
Yes, this was the model. This could be, it's the base is a hexagonal, and this is a hexagon and a square. And this is a construction done with the multiples. Again, go on. This was always about emergency housing. Go on.
All these can be inside a container. All those pieces can enter in a container and can be transported everywhere, very easy to mount.
But this was 15 years ago, and now we are working in something a little bit, we are quite always in the same mood. Can you go on, please?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, the inside is so important because it's, you can really connect it. Every environment that works if you have a very clean polyhedric. Okay. We try to do this overall in all the environment, in all the conditions. Then there is another thing, so it's a little bit more complex. That was idea, the name is Kensington Garden. The idea was to have two boxes. Inside there is a movie, but this movie is done only with a very old system that was, they started in the 19th century, the end of 19th century. Can you show the next?
It's a pepper ghost.
Pepper ghost, because in theater. Go on, please. Again. You can see these images are completely hologram. But this is very old formal hologram. Now we have it's more easy. Then this was with the mirror. The system was a mirror. We did a video and mirror system. And go on, okay. Again.
But this was something like what we had now in with coronavirus, because it was people living there day and night all together. 3 people, I think, are there.
Yes, the video was 3 people. They could live day and night for 2 days.
Again, for the Triennale, we always were.
No, this is not a problem.
Sì, la Triennale. And was in front of the Triennale, and always the emergency. And so this was the problem of food and water. And it's a pavilion. You can go, Ramon, to see inside what was. The necessity maybe someday to go away, to go living in another place, in another planet. Right?
This is about water block. Just water.
Right?
This is one we want to live in another planet. This one.
Again, this one is another house, experimental. Yes, no, not for emergency, but can be too. Always is a cell. It's one unit that can be reproduced and composed for how many you want. And this is interesting because you see, if you look at the plan, could work just for this moment, because you can enter, have the place where you can wash your hands, don't be leave your shoes and go inside the house with the apartment without putting inside all the virus knife. And maybe I can do. You see one and all the cell mounted. Go again. Right. This we have. This is a prototype. It's a real one that has been built a few years ago. And the interesting thing is a little bit the same we I spoke before, the one that you can have a flexible space. In fact, here the walls are not fixed. You can rotate, you can open, you can close the house. Can be only one piece, only one flat and unique room. O puoi ritornare alla pianta, Ramon? Okay, you see, this you can rotate this pivot and open this turn. You can open or you can close the house, or you can have all the space for you. Those are all experimental houses that the thing is that is very easy to build. This was the always our idea and our obsession to do something that was not very expensive, very easy to build, and also performant.
And the working place too.
Of course, it's
okay.
And this is the mounted in Paris, but maybe you can't see. I can't see just a few. Here.
Okay.
That's the video.
And
So
this is one of the last things.
For Seoul.
Ah, just a while.
Now this is for what the super ground in Seoul. There was one idea with Ramon, with Doriana, to have something that is can change. It's a cellular automata. There is a few algorithms that we use to have the best condition that we want. The best condition because we don't want the meaning is this: one cellular cannot live without giving enough light, enough sustainability, enough water, everything's there. Then they kill each other, and after the result, the only one that we can see is the right one that can be. And this design is not our design; it's automatic design done by some algorithm that we start in the beginning.
Yes, it's what we tried to do without Cellular Automata many years ago. But the idea was always the same. Now it's, of course, it's easier.
Then there is some other things. There is we can use the main rod. There is a lot of highways, like a cross, terrible cross, and we build another ground. This ground that we build, we use the street, the asphalt, everything to produce energy. And after we don't produce only energy, but we make even the purification of air. This is we do only some laws, some rules, and after everything can change, we can share the possibility to do this. You see now, Ramon, you can speak about this too. Huh?
Yes, I think that the most interesting thing is the idea that the coexistence, you know, how it's possible that one new infrastructure that's combined a building and another process are able to living together with existing infrastructure, which is a big problem in Seoul, or cities like Seoul, for example, which are mega cities that are designed from the 60s or 70s of the last century, and are basically based on the idea of car infrastructure, something that today seems a little bit obsolete for the future. How is possible that developing more complex architecture that could be able to coexist with these existing architectures or infrastructures? That's the idea of superground. That's
okay.
all.
This is all. This we want only to show you some consequence ideas that we got since around 2000. around 2000 was less aesthetics and more ethics. Was ethics was something that even the affichage, even the panel, the big panels was the panels that looked like some virus. Now is complete. Now we can see that the problem of ethics can be with the economy, with the health, with some other things together. What we did in these 3 months is to put together, to be with others people, and to understand that we can work together, to be a community that works with different people, with different items, with different devices, with different culture. We can work together. It's like a new humanism. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So for the, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. We don't see you yet.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
You're always here.
Yeah. So for the continuity of the lecture, we have put together some questions to contextualize the lecture discussion in light of the current situation, and
where's the dog?
It's a Camillo dog, sure. No, it's not Camillo dog.
So to sum up, these questions touch to how practice evolved in this situation and what are the lasting impacts, the way we interact with each other and how it evolves with the current situation, the compromise between freedom and safety and how we should engage as designers. The sanitation is obviously now a central point. What growing concerns in the future? And lastly, about your approach and the collaborative process. So during this part, we would like as well to invite others to ask questions for the end on the group chat, and I'll also send the big questions on the chat so you can read through them. Yeah, you can take the discussion forward. Thank you.
I think Camillo can say something about sanification, not only sanification, but sanification is something very important, like air conditioner.
Yeah.
These are the 2 points that for us is very, very important.
Yeah, it's like there have been a few papers, but it's known like since the SARS in 2003, 2004 that there was a paper in New England Journal of Medicine showing the case of the Hamoy Gardens, where it was documented how the transmission of the infection happened both vertically and horizontally in these big apartment buildings. And if you Google Hamoy Gardens SARS, you'll see all the diagram and the images on that. But practically what was known then, and it took a long time for the WHO to realize also now, is that the air transmission, that the virus can remain over 3 hours as aerosol in the air, so that if you are in a confined space without cross ventilation, or if you have an air conditioning system that recirculates part of the air, you can infect not only the people in your apartment, but also throughout the building vertically and horizontally. And they also found that there were transmission also through the toilet system, the pipes of the toilet and the venting of the bathrooms that could transmit from one apartment to the other. So that some of the things that we are looking for hospitals or for research centers, but that are applicable also for any other building, probably are three level of systems for disinfection. One is like UV lights that can be installed, like you have in a cooking over the stove. Sometimes you have the UV light that you can turn to disinfect your cooking plane. But you could have them like in bathroom or at the entrance of a house if you have packages left outside to decontaminate before you bring the package in. And then we have this machine that now we have just received in the hospital that is actually, I forgot the name, but there is like a portable machine that disinfects by aerosol dry in half an hour every room up to 120 cubic meters in the small model, or up to 1,000 cubic meter in the bigger model. And we use it now regularly to disinfect several key areas, like the lobby where patients come at the end of every day, or the laboratory where you process cells that needs to remain sterile. And then there is another technology that is of sterilization within the pipes of air conditioning system that is also very interesting. We didn't purchase that yet, but is something, I don't know, I think I sent it to you, Doriana, in the past. I could try to recover those emails. But anyway, there are different technology that we're looking at that could be applied already now with relatively easy. Like, for example, I purchased 5 UV lights that are like 1 meter by 1 meter in dimension square, that can stand still. They can be mounted in the ceiling, but we use them as a freestanding unit that you can move from one room to the other depending where you need them. And then we have this dry disinfection system. We didn't buy yet the one that sanitizes the airflow within the pipe, but are all things that I think there will be a lot of attention paid to try to mitigate or decrease the risk of transmission. There are movies that have been done, studies in Japan on the transmission in air and in closed situation that show that even if you don't cough, even if you speak with another person in a closed environment, you can have transmission of viral particles like up to 2 meters and without coughing or sneezing. But that if, for example, you're in a place where you can have a minimal cross ventilation, and a minimal doesn't need to be a wind, but just a minimal flow of air opening to windows at the opposite of a house or an apartment, it will allow you to clean up all the air rather fast. So that is an advantage. The disadvantage is that are so small particles, like they can be 100 nanometers in particles, so they can fly and float and remain aerosol for a long time. But at the same time, a marginal airflow that you can just have opening a window would blow them out and minimize the risk of transmission.
Okay, I think that is could be what we are working the last years is we work with a few algorithms, very easy, not very complex, because our friend Marco can laugh about our really how much the architects are primitive with the mind, with intelligence mind, with the mind, with the intelligence. I think artificial mind. I think that he can say something more. Marco, the floor is yours.
I'm here. Quick presentation. I am Marco Menichelli. I work in the field of research of new AI algorithms since now I think 12 years. I'm working to emulate the principal human cognitive process using a new type of algorithms. We study, in fact, the functioning of the human mind, and we divide the human mind in cognitive process. We have studied that human mind works using some process that can work together but independently each other. So we have understood, for example, how to can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How to simulate the human insight process. The human insight process is the intuition process, and we have emulated some aspect of the intuition process. So we now are developing a new type of AI, general AI, that we named synthetic psyche. Synthetic psyche is a group of single softwares that can works together to emulate an entire mind, synthetic mind. In the field of architecture and healthcare, of course, we are studying how to emulate a great scientist, how to emulate a mind that can learn from the most important scientists in the world. One of these is Professor Camillo Ricordi. We are now working to develop a new type of telemedicine that can assist millions of persons autonomously and using the most important knowledge that the synthetic psyche can learn directly from the scientist. In the healthcare, we are studying how to apply the artificial intelligence in radiology, for example, using the ability of the AI to interpret imaging results with radiology, helping the clinicians in detecting the most little anomaly in a minute. Or we are working in the organ on chip. Organ on chip is a new project that we are developing in Italy that can emulate the behavior of a human organ. And we can use this organ on chip to understand how the drugs can resolve a disease directly on the organ by observing how the organ act with this drug. We can use, for example, the artificial intuition that we named synthetic intuition to understand, to observe the drug interaction, to find new drugs by studying the molecule of the drugs and of the human body, and to find a new way to cure the most type of disease. Okay, the field is very, very large, but in medicine we are now at the origin of the application of AI in the medicine, because is very recent, the idea that all the measure science is not a single science, but we must to understand that all science is an interdisciplinary science if we want to resolve truly our problems.
Okay. No, this is for to be simple, even if it's very clear, Marco and Camillo, what we think, what we feel, that is the last sentence that Marco say, that there is no science, there is no one professional system, there is nothing, no knowledge that don't need of other knowledge, other something different. This is the multidisciplinarity is not very old, but is a new one, because we have to come back with the multidisciplinarity to work with others, to try to find a way to work better with others, with people that knows, have a different knowledge. For an architect, for many years, the architects, they were like conductor or orchestra. They are thinking that they are perfect, they know everything, and they can investigate everything. I think now, after coronavirus virus period, we can see clearly that we need of other people. We need many competence, different competence. But this is could be the beginning of a fantastic life.
Yeah. No, I agree, and on the multidisciplinarity, I think is a central pillar of our approach, because it has been shown, like, for example, in Italy, with suddenly only virologists express opinions, and I heard some of the most stupid things, like masks are useless, it cannot be transmitted person to person, it doesn't stay in the air. So we heard, and then they change as the knowledge goes forward. But the idea to combine, like we have, like even in the approach that we are doing now with stem cell therapy for the most severe cases of COVID-19, like we have multidisciplinary team from molecular biology, immunology, virologists, critical care, pneumologists, and the same, I think, would be good for architecture or planning cities or habitat of the future, buildings, apartments, to try to be multidisciplinary as well.
Camillo, you know very well, the architects, they change every day. There are someone, they start with the megalopoly, and after some people start with the country yard, and after the other people, they move in another set. The architects change a lot, but without doing some content, really content. Now, the only content that we are not able to work alone.
Yeah.
Yes, because probably multidisciplinarity is the best way to face complexity. And probably we are living in a more, not probably, for sure we are living in a more complex world. And seems that it will be more and more complex every day. I think that the big change with the coronavirus, it was that since 3 months ago, probably the architecture field, we never had in mind that the idea that developing collaboration with the medicine of doctors, for example, was part of their job. I think that now we discover that our homes need to be a kind of a way that we feel protected from the outside, because the outside there is certainly danger or risk that is difficult to detect. And simply architecture becomes something much more complex, not only the way to design or to project a place where living or where we work, etc. It's simply now a place where it will be possible to survive in our conditions that will be more and more complex in the future, not only related to the coronavirus or some pandemic, also relate, for example, with the climate conditions or with the emissions, etc. Seems that our world will be a more dangerous place in the future. An architect must be able to project and to build spaces where the people will be able to survive and live in a better conditions, which is something that seems very complex, really.
This morning we had a very long talk with always with the same system, Zoom, with region Lazio, regional Roma, with many people that are working around this region, with the president region. We are working, they are organizing a task force. This task force is just for old people, the seniors, the old one. That is the big problem, because we have seen when it was very hot in many years, a few years ago, in Paris, Rome, and overall in the world, was a disaster, totally disaster. Now we have to understand, if we put, because we are putting the old people, the old guys, the old familiar people in some housing that is for retiring, is terrible, because this was the majority in Lombardia, in Milano, was the majority part of dead. Then I think everybody now start to speak about something else. Do you know, Camillo, everybody what was speaking about, we are invited there, they are speaking about house. They start again from house, like we did 3 months ago. And after with the health, the presidium was be in territory. The presidium, I don't know if in English is this, but looks like. This is the two things, not hospital at all. Hospital is something different. Everybody now come back to speak. Every day is a good moment for the health of everybody. It's not only when you are sick. And then you need a device, items. You have to test every day the health of the people that are the people are living in the city and outside of the city.
Yeah, and I think there will be a lot of trends now to, I mean, there are already telemedicine, artificial intelligence, enhanced telemedicine, and prevention, like how you move the population to the 90% that don't get sick or get mild symptoms after a viral infection, and how to avoid the one that are higher risk to develop the most severe or lethal form of COVID. And I'm sure, I'm confident there will be a lot that will be able to be done as far as prevention, or like lifestyle and nutrition and supplements that can increase your resistance to the most severe infections or immune reaction after COVID. We know that for autoimmune disease condition, there are situations where you can lose resistance to an autoimmune aggressive first element, and at the same time you can try to mitigate that, like with very simple things like omega-3, vitamin D. Now there is a lot of data coming out also from quercetin interfering with viral proteins, or SIR2 inactivators, and vitamin C, zinc, and so on. You will be able to work on prevention by trying to generate populations that are fit for viral pandemics or more resistance to the most severe forms. And I think telemedicine, nothing will be requiring a hospital or visit to a doctor in a hospital. It will be done all online, like we're already working with Marco and others in this direction. I have they're calling me from the hospital because we did this stem cell treatment this in the middle of the night, and I have this 12 o'clock meeting with the critical care physician. Is this lecture in this meeting going forward for more time, or was it 1 hour?
No, not that much more. So maybe we can now move on to the questions from the audience. So thank you very much for your insights.
So I left my contact information here so that if anyone has specific question for me, I can try to answer later. Is in the chat, my contact information at the beginning. But thank you for having me. It was really interesting and I enjoy seeing you virtually all.
Thank you, like always.
Ciao.
Ciao Camillo. Ciao Camillo.
Ciao.
So the first questions that we have from is from Albert Dubler. So he's asking, has your idea of the minimal surface of an apartment changed in the last 2 months?
But I think that not only in the last months has changed, but it's not the square meters that you have to change, but I think it's the organization of the flat. I believe that we can do in a much clever way a house, an apartment. First of all, it has to be flexible because we are facing now to something we spoke not many minutes ago about old people. You are young again, so you can't know, but for us and for all the people who has a family and as children, you can see during your life that your exigency modifies, and so first you need less space because you are only two. After you two, you will have children and two, and after this 10, 15, 18 years ago, later, the young will go away and you have a big house for four and you don't need any more. But old people, your parents will be old and you if you can, you should help them. And so why don't think about a new, flexible way to live? And for example, using wall, moving wall, transparent wall. Even you can have a big space, not so big, but all the apartment empty, open, and close when you need, with the transparent or colored walls, and this is much easy to live also in a very small apartment, for example, where you have very small windows. And
one moment, I have to say something. In France, sometime in Italy, we need some more square meters. There are many houses that are too many rooms for a few square meters. Do less rooms, but bigger space. This is what is very important. Now, I remember in France is F2, F4, something that has no sense, no more sense. I think we have to see another way. It's not square meters, it's not rooms, it's not how many rooms we have, how many space we have.
Okay, thank you. Then we have a question from Lawrence Kleeman, who is asking, do you believe that a modular approach to architecture, which would allow flexible customization of living spaces, is a valid solution to the coronavirus crisis? You want me to read it again?
I didn't got the first sentence, the first.
Yeah, so he's asking, do you believe that a modular approach to architecture, which would allow flexible customization of living spaces, is a valid solution to the coronavirus crisis?
Is the coronavirus needs to have always a room. If the house is the first defense, the first protection, the first aid. This is a thing that we have to have the possibility to have not like a model, to have the possibility to have one space, not so big, but enough important for one people
That can
there
be
can be
isolated.
isolated. There is the first one. The other, there is a big space, that is flexible space that we can use in different way. When there are some sickness, like now, we can use for the sickness, but we can use this social, because the old people and the young people all together, they can be a new community that can help each other, they can know each other. Someone, like Marco said, that experience, sensory experience, is someone is not only experience, is someone informatic, technology, some use of different device.
Okay. So we have another one from Adir Ahmed, which is still on the same subject as the first one. So he's asking, during the quarantine, we heard many stories about people suffering due to living in small spaces and prototypes of studios where they don't have much space, and it affected their mental health. Do you think the crisis would impact your future designs, the way you design spaces?
No more studio, no more studio, no more studio. This is cannot be minimum, cannot be less than 50 square meters. Now we have a studio that is 11 square meters, 12, 15. I think less than 50 square meters, we have no the right to build.
But also we can think about what we were speaking just before, to have a floor dedicated to the flexibility. So even if you live in a small space, not 11 square meters, but can happen because all of us had when you are student, when you have no money, when you are in the impossibility to stay better, you can have also a very small room with the bed and the bathroom. But if you have a place where you can go to study, where if you are sick, like in this moment for coronavirus, all the people, if you have coronavirus, you can stay with others that are sick as you are, and so share also the malady, the sickness. So the important is to have a space where to stay, or if you are good or if you are not, where to share your moments.
Okay, I have one last question. So do you think that addressing these issues and solving these issues through architecture is inevitably going through having an approach to design which is global, so designing at all scales and addressing these issues through global designs?
And the man is, it's always the same. You have to.
We are always 8 billions of people. We are always 8 billions of people.
And I think that for an architect, we are speaking about this from the beginning. It's important to understand what is happening.
Otherwise, you can live. Sorry. Otherwise, you can live in a country yard, but you need to have infrastructure, digital infrastructure, technology, so many items that you could live there. But now we have no perfect organization, and the digital is not so perfect. Even the informatic system, internet is not really performance.
Mm-hmm. I have a question to Marco Menichelli, who was talking about digital medicine now, and saying that we will not have to have more hospital or more places. You can have something different with communication through internet. But at the same time, I think that there is something missing, always a human relation. And I think that the human being is so important that during this era of the coronavirus, we were missing the possibility to talk to real people. And what do you think about that? Because the AI will not help you for having a real conversation with person.
Okay. I think that it's important it was important during this pandemic to maintain the distance. How I long talk with Camillo that he say that his daughter is working in a COVID center, which is died 6 HEP healthcare personnel, and talking about this pandemic period, it's important to maintain the distance, to erase the physical interaction with the patients. And we had talked about this with Massimiliano and Doriana, because now it's important to design a new type of telemedicine devices that can help the patient, using obviously the knowledge of a human doctors, human HCP, but maintain the distance and protecting the ACP. And for me, this is the big challenge of our time.
Yes, but
we had too many doctors died.
I know.
Yeah.
They died a lot, too many. And this is because it says epidemia is something different, or sickness.
Yes, but I'm thinking about...
otherwise, you can have a relationship. Your doctor has to have a connection directly with you. He has to know you every day, every moment in all your life from this device. And after he can call with you, he can know how you are. This is we have to do some housing, some space that can be optimized for this, I think.
Yeah, it's important to say also that not everyone has the same knowledge. So not all the doctors has the same knowledge. And using this new technology, AI based, we can create a global knowledge that can help efficiently the measure parts of disease that not all medicines or doctors can detect autonomously without a specific information that not everyone has.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but I was thinking further down. Now during the crisis, the specific moment of the epidemic, it's important to protect ourselves. Clear, we don't have to connect to have social distance, etc. But what will happen next? Because we will have more pandemic, we will have more. It will repeat something. Not only that one, but maybe other one. So we have to think how we can manage as architect, and maybe and also the artificial intelligence. Sorry, how we can continue to have or to build spaces and specific place where you can meet, because yes, I think that there is no life without human being.
No, yes, because till now, hospital was the architect specialist in hospital, that he did all the hospitals over the world. Then now we understood that this kind of hospital was completely bankrupt and failing. Was not well done, was bad done. Then we have to come back in different, really respect for the people and use the hospital for what the hospital can give us. This is the most important things. We cannot put all together different sickness, different surgeries, the operation that we have from the heart, from we make big confusion between specialistic and something that we have to use every day. What you say, Odile, is very interesting because every year in Italy is between 4 and 5 million infection for influenza, which is for flu.
Flu, yeah.
From around 5 millions every year.
Yeah, we have the same in France.
There is I don't remember because there is not, perhaps you, Marco, knows, even Camillo could say how many dead we have for pneuma every year. Much more than in coronavirus.
Yes, I know. No, it's not. In France, it was less. At the beginning, everybody said that it was more, but now we know that it was less. It's less every year because this contamination here is stronger. But the question is that if we have the coronavirus once in the year, if after
I see one moment, I see one message is in France are 50,000.
15,000, yes.
50,000 last year.
Yes,
Much more than the coronavirus deaths.
No, this is not that.
There is right.
Okay, doesn't matter. That means that we could have 2 pandemias every year. So now we learn how to behave when we have a pandemia, and people will remind this gesture, this way of social distanciation when they will have the flu. We will maintain again the distanciation, but if we have to live all the time of the year because of different pandemia with social distanciation, how we will stay to be human? This is a
big question. But we have the problem is that we are 8 billions and we will have 1 billion more in the next 30 years. Yeah. 1 or 2. Yes. That is something that we cannot stop. Even with the whole pandemic, pandemia, with all the wars, we have. It's the people grow up. The population in the world grow up.
It will be a different humanity in the next future. Someone called super humanity, which is something that is able to be adapted to the evolution, to implement the old technologies and the environment context, which is affect a lot to the human being. I think that we have to consider that simply in terms of be connected with the people, human connection or personal connections is something that is obviously it's special, it's very important, but at the end today, the people in the different levels are being connected much more time that in the past we never had.
Yes, but part of this, we still want to kiss others. That's it. We want to kiss. We want to hug. We want.
I'm sure that it will be some device that will allow you to kiss with all the people around the world much more safe and effectiveness. I think it's simply it's a different context.
I have the impression that you don't know what is the skin, what is the contact of the skin, what is the contact of the real person, to feel the health, to feel the warmth of a real person, to feel the hurt of the real person. And I think that we have to keep this notion when we are thinking about the devices or the architecture.
Odile, if you remember how many trips we did the last years.
Yeah, I know.
How many of these trips or this was very useful and something one was useful. You know, there is one guy in Arche that did a book. He said how many times in 1 year, how many times sleeps out of housing, how many kilometers he did around the world. He was so proud of this. And now this is quite useful, not useful for everybody. Then we have to find another system, another way to live. I think it's 4 months that I don't catch an airplane. I feel good. I feel much better than before.
Okay, so I will never see you again.
No, we will see much more. But it's when we will see because we love to see each other. No, we have to see because we have some job to do. Many times this job is not very useful. If you remember in your past, in our past, how many times we have met some people that finally also know the good one that was very interesting. We can change our kind of life. We can use better our time.
Yeah, sure. No, I just want to oppose or to face with another position than the one that Marco had before. That's it.
No, it's with artificial intelligence always. We have to use this artificial intelligence to live in better condition.
Yeah.
Only for that.
Okay. Yes. So Charles, do you have something else to add? Because there is a.
No, I think we reached the point where we can close the lecture.
Okay. So Massimiliano, Doriana and Massimiliano, thank you very much. And I'm very glad to have you both at this discussion and this talk, because it's quite unusual for me, and it's very nice. And I think that for everybody it was nice. And we will have the recording of the lecture, and we will send it to you if you want.
Thank you.
And I have to say to anybody that next week on Wednesday, 27, I think, we will have Antoine Picon and other guests in our lecture. And it will be the end of the lecture and the end of the year for the school in Paris.
But the school is the only one part of all this situation that is that not, they didn't find a very good solution. They stop and they go on. I think that the school is always very important. And the school is a necessity to be closer with the master, with the people, with the professor.
Yes,
you cannot have only with the screen. The screen is good to speak of something else, to put together people of different regions of the world. But his school has to be again school. It's 3,000 years that we have 2,000 years. From Greek that we have a school, yes, it works very well.
Yes, sure. But because at the same time, we have to gather together. We have to be together and to live together. Yes. So this is very important.
Yes, but only for much important things.
Yes, not for everything.
Things that we don't need, like all the
For
travel.
learning, yes, you know, not for those stupid
You remember
things.
Paul Virilio, what in the 80s that he said, the more we will be engaged and faster and evoluted, and the less we will move. And I was saying, what he is telling, what he is speaking about, and you know, it's in some way it's real.
It's something else.
The faster man in the world was the most in the.
But you can use your time in a different way, in a much clever way. Not spend time with every people doing nothing.
Be proud to have always in the hotel.
Yes, maybe the best thing of this pandemic is to have seeking back our life.
Yeah, go back to life, to real life.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Ciao, thank you very much to everybody. Ciao, Dil. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao, Marco. Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao a tutti.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay.